This enhancement will review dashboards. This feature allows you to view key operation performance for orders, quotes, invoices, and top 10 performers for customers, vendors, and salesperson. Salesperson security is enabled for these dashboard views. Financial information is available for cash flow projections, cash on hand, working capital ratio, and inventory turnover ratio if you have the Enhanced Inventory add-on. The dashboard icon is located in the upper right-hand part of your screen. Dashboards are available for the order summary, quote summary, invoice summary, top 10 for customers, vendors, and salesperson. Under the Financial tab, cash on hand balance, cash flow projection, inventory turnover ratio, and again, this is only if you have the inventory add-on, and working capital ratio. The last updated date and time will be displayed and updated each time the data is retrieved. The first tab is for operations, and it starts with order summary. The summary screens will show a comparison of activity based on the filter you set on the top right-hand side of the screen. This filter can be set for 7 days, last 30 days, 60 days, 90, 180, and 365. Each section has a question mark help button for an explanation of the calculations. For our example, we are using the last year. This will show a summary for the period compared to the same period last year, and then a year-to-date, a prior year-to-date, and a prior full year. All open and closed orders, including purchase stock orders, will be included in the number of orders, total, and average margin. The order summary uses salesperson security and will provide information for orders that the user has access to. Salesperson sales cost % split is not taken into consideration when calculating amounts. Information available to view are the number of orders, the total price, which includes merchandise, discount, and freight, but no sales tax, average margin amount, this is the total selling price of merchandise minus cost of merchandise divided by the total number of orders equals total average value. Percentage, this is the circle that's comparing the total for the period to the left versus the period to the right. Date range used for prior calculations will vary based on the date filter selected. Under Yearly Summary, all are included. It counts the number of records, the total, and average margin in the calculation. The order list under the Order Control group can be used to reconcile the values summarized by adding additional optional columns, selections, and applying the proper filter to the order date to match the range of dates being referenced for each section. Once you have it set up, you can save the format, which we already have it saved. And if we go to our custom dates, we have it established from 9/24/17 to 9/24/18. If we look at our dashboard, that's our same date range. So our order list, 176,000, and our dashboard, 176,000. The order list available optional columns listed are amount, price including goods, discount, freight, and no tax. The cost, which is the cost of goods and freight on the order, our next column over. Our gross margin and margin percentage. We can go ahead and close this option. Our next dashboard is for quotes. This will be based off the same dates used for the order summary. Our filter by date in the upper right-hand corner. And our upper left-hand side, we see our last updated with the date and time. The quote summary will also use the salesperson security and will provide information for quotes that the user has access to. Sales cost percent split is not taken into consideration when calculating amounts. The date filter can be selected to determine the date reported on, our date in the upper right-hand corner. And under our quote control group, the quote update list can be used to reconcile the values summarized by adding optional column selections and applying the proper date filter to the quote date to match the selected date filter being referenced for each section. Discounts on the quotes are not calculated in the summary and may result in list total not matching the summary total. Quotes will require a ship date before they will appear in this list. We'll select our one for the dashboard. We have our custom date set up for the last year using the same date parameter that we have in our dashboard. So under our quote summary, our circle showing our percentage. We did not have any quotes last year, and showing our amount. Under quote tracking, and our total sales, and our total price. Let me go ahead and close this, and then take a look at our next dashboard. Our next dashboard is for invoices. This will be based off the same dates used for the order summary and the quote summary. We'll move our invoice summary a little bit up. Our filter by date is still set. And so our last updated shows our date and time. View a summary of invoice activity based on date filter selected. All open and closed invoices will be included in the number of invoices and the total and average margin. This list uses salesperson security and will provide information for invoices that the user has access to. Sales cost percent split is not taken into consideration when calculating amounts. A date filter can be selected to determine the period reporting on. This will be our date in the upper right-hand corner. This includes the number of invoices, the total, average margin, and there's a total selling price of the merchandise minus cost of merchandise divided by the total number of invoices equal total average value. The percentage, via our circle, is comparing the total for the period to the left versus our period to the right. The date filter selected for prior calculations will vary based off the date option entered. Yearly summary, all included, counts number of records, total, and average margin in the calculation. Underneath our invoice control group, and our list can be used to reconcile the values summarized by adding the optional column selections and applying the proper filter to the date to match the range of dates being referenced for each section. Optional columns include the amount, the cost, our gross margin, and our gross margin percentage. We compare this to our dashboard. We see our amount down here for our totals. We'll close this list and we'll go on to our next dashboard. Our next dashboard will be for the top 10, and this will be based off the same dates used for the other dashboards. The top 10 lists are available for customers, vendors, and salesperson. This section will also include a question mark to show you how the calculations are done. For each section, there are 3 different views available. This includes orders, invoices, and quotes. For each type of record, the list will include all open and closed records based off their entry date when calculating the number of records, totals, average value, and average margin. Each quote, order, or invoice requires a customer to be assigned to the record. Otherwise, the record will be ignored. The Customer Top 10 list is an overview of invoices created based on the dashboard date and options selected. Any salesperson accessing this view will only see what their user setup has rights to. This view shows a top 10 customer the user has access to based on salesperson security. Sales cost percent split is not taken into consideration when calculating the amounts, and it offers the ability to view average margin percentage. On the right-hand side, the vendor top 10 list is an overview of quotes, orders, and invoices created based on the dashboard date options selected. Any salesperson who has access to this view will only see what their user setup has the rights to access. Under our Salesperson tab, the top 10 list is an overview of quotes, orders, and invoices created based on the dashboard date option selected. And the salesperson will again only have access to their information. Under the Financials tab, each function within this section has the option to select Customize Results to make selections to use in the line chart and update. Click on the Customize Results link to select the account to analyze for each section. Our first section is a cash on hand balance. If we select our link to Customize Results, we could choose our cash accounts and select Update. And now we can see our additional general ledger accounts. Each section also has the question mark, so you can analyze, review how the calculations are made. We can customize results for the cash flow projection. Here we can choose cash, payables, receivables, and projected invoices. Each section has the ability to preview or print this. I can export email as necessary. If you have the inventory add-on, you also have access to the inventory turnover ratio. The inventory turnover ratio is an efficiency ratio that shows how effectively inventory is managed by comparing cost of sales inventory items plus cost of sales standard cost variance, general ledger balances with average inventory balances as of today and the prior 6-month ending period. This measures how many times average inventory is turned or sold during a period. We also have access to preview or print this list. And then the ASI SmartBooks bulletin has a full explanation on how to calculate the turns. A final dashboard under Financials is a working capital ratio. This displays the other asset, accounts selected by the user in the configuration, divided by the current liability system type, accounts selected by the user in the configuration. This retrieves the prior 6 months ending dates and calculates current assets divided by the current liability values for that date. The working capital ratio provides a visual reference to your business ability to pay short-term liability based on your access to short-term assets. A good working capital ratio of anything greater than 1.2 or higher shows that your business is expected to meet its short-term obligations. Additional to assist in monitoring past trends, the graph will show today's ratio as well as the last 6 months ending periods. And then we can go ahead and close our dashboard. And this will conclude the review of this exciting new dashboard option.